We are live. What's going on, Professor Muhammad? How are we doing this morning?
Hey, doing good. Doing good. What's going on, coach?
Fantastic, man. Just got a lot going on. Our summer's getting away from us. It's July 30th, and I don't know. They go too quick, man. I mean, I don't know about you. I literally, my kids just got out of school. It seems like, and Amanda's buying. She's buying them back to school stuff already. Literally went to Target
Wow.
and yo. Let me ask you this, man. When it was back to school for you, where'd you get your stuff from? Like where'd you get your school supplies and your backpack and all those things? Because we didn't go to Target. Where'd you get yours from?
Bro, we buy throughout the year. At the
Oh,
end of
that's
the
smart.
season, we
That's smart.
buy. Yeah, we buy at the end of the season or throughout the year because stuff is literally pennies on the dollar
Mm.
uh for school supplies. Yeah.
I remember going to Goodwill, dude. I went to we were like it's so funny back when Macklemore came out with like thrift shop and everyone's like, oh, let's, dude. I we That's what we did. If I didn't get hand me downs, like we went to the thrift shops. We went to Salvation Army, Goodwill, a place called Damascus House in Monroe. Like that's where we got a lot of our stuff. Target
Yeah,
wasn't
well,
as big.
today you can't say, well, you know what? When I was a kid, we used to get our stuff from the Goodwill, the gift shop, because now the in thing to do is shop at thrift shop. Like they say, I'm
Yeah,
going thrifting.
yeah,
So it's like a cool thing for affluent people to do that. So they stole our thunder
yeah. They did.
of the modest upbringing that we had. It's funny.
Yeah. Well, and Goodwill's kind of, I haven't been in a Goodwill recently, but they're like halfway to retail. Last I was in there, like it wasn't the Goodwill I
Really?
remember. Yeah. Well, what's interesting is totally off topic what we're doing today, but the Goodwill CEO is like a multiple time millionaire, like multiple time. He might even be on his way to being a billionaire. I have no idea. But
Wow.
the general of the Salvation Army has a salary of like 40 or 50 grand a year.
Really?
It's a nonprofit, right? So like so that's kind of two different
I didn't
visions.
know that. So
I guess.
Goodwill is a for-profit company.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah,
Oh, that's
like
interesting.
back when I
Wow.
was like thrifting and selling on Amazon, like you don't go to Goodwill because they already do that. They cherry pick all the shit that comes in and they sell it on Amazon. Books, clothes,
Wow.
goods, it's just not a good sourcing joint to get that stuff at. Usually, like
Wow.
unless they miss something, you know. But anyway, that's what we're getting into. You guys just got back from Kids Pans, so I know we're gonna talk about that on the show today. So tell us a little bit. What is Kids Pan? Recap. What is Kids Pans? Kind of explain it to those who don't know. And how was the trip?
Yeah, so Kids Pans is it's the Olympics of Jiu Jitsu. It's a Super Bowl of Jiu Jitsu. You train all year round, and every little game it would be considered like a preseason or regular season game. So the people who are really into Jiu Jitsu are uh, I'm sending you a link here. Uh, the kids who are really into jujitsu and understand like there's different levels in jujitsu, and they want to say that they're the best in the world. That's what they train for all year round. So every game, every tournament, every local competition that they do is meant to kind of prep and prepare them for kids pans. So it attracts. Give you a perspective. Like there was 3,000 competitors there this weekend.
Over how many days?
3,000.
How many days were this was the tournament?
I believe it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday for kids.
Wow, that's a lot. Friday, three
Yeah,
days. It's a lot. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot.
I mean, it's on another level. Like the stadium where the Orlando Magic plays is where they hold the kids' pants.
That's where that like the the rodeo stadium.
Well, yeah. There are pictures of the Orlando Magic basketball players on that stadium, so I assume so. I haven't seen or confirmed, but yeah,
The
all
like
over
the
the
rodeo
doors is
joint, the rodeo, the same one in Kiss. Was it Kissimmee or Orlando? It must be
Yeah,
different.
Kissimmee, Florida. Yeah,
No way. That's crazy.
yeah,
That's
isn't
wild.
it? That's wild.
Yeah, no, it's huge. It's a huge venue. Yeah, it's a huge. I know they had obviously Orlando Open there, and didn't they have like they had something big? Did they have American Nationals or Nogi Worlds there a couple years back? Years like
Nogi
2020.
World.
I'm thinking Spurs
Yeah,
Stadium.
maybe.
Ellie is saying
Yeah,
Spurs Stadium. No way.
yeah. It's just to give you a perspective of how big the like the compound and the whole facility is. So I went out to my car to grab something, and from my car, from the seats to my car and back is a half mile.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah,
That's
so
big.
it's very, very large.
So
So anyway, yeah,
what are some things that what are some things that you saw that you see this year? I mean, you were talking to me about some of the gray belts that you saw, techniques they were using, and this was gi, right? So this wasn't no gi.
yeah.
Do they have kids no gi pants?
I don't think they have kids nogi pans, but I know
Mm,
that they're starting to incorporate nogi
I know they're getting.
tournaments for
I know
kids.
they're doing more. Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
strictly in the gi, right? The uniform. So, and this is what they train. Ironically, it's around the same time as the Olympics, right? So definitely top tier. What were some things that you were seeing from some of the competing gray belts and things that was surprising you?
Yeah, so like for people who don't are not that familiar with jiu-jitsu, um, the kids that we saw at these tournaments, I mean, the level of skill and competition is like if you watch any world champion or people at like the highest level of their sport, like you could look at them and see, man, there's something about that guy or girl. They got swagger and they got confidence, and some of it could be like cockiness, but the like one thing for like I said, you don't train jujitsu or you don't know anything about it, like the total ownership of the mat and being there of the kids is was like you couldn't believe it. As a spectator, if you walked in the arena, it is so loud and there's screaming and shouting and there's like cheering and there's sections and there's different teams and it's like you cannot focus. After a few minutes, you need a Tylenol or some earplugs because there's just so much going on. And if you ever watch the Karate Kid, like when you're walking into the building, Daniel's walking into the building, you have teams cheering and jumping, and then you have other teams celebrating, and you put anybody in that facility, it's really hard to focus. So,
Mm.
one thing I notice is the kids' emotional posture and control of where they're at and being present at that moment in time. It's like none of this phases me,
Well,
and that takes a lot of
yeah, that
work.
takes a huge amount. I mean, we talk about that.
Yeah.
We talk about that. I mean, that's why when we even do a local tournaments, and I've often said kids handle the competing, generally speaking, better than adults. Adults, we get in our own head a lot, especially like at lower belts, white, blue, get in our own head a lot, and they just kind of psych ourselves out. But you have, I mean, the skills like that, the mental strength, the ability to focus and perform under pressure. I mean, you want to talk about like preparing you for the workforce. Like that's gonna do it, right? Like more better than
No doubt.
virtually. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, different schools, districts might teach different things, but like you hear about like what do they call it, test anxiety or testing anxiety. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
math
Yeah.
test seems a little bit less scary, and not doing well on it, as opposed to like I'm gonna go out there against another kid who's been training nothing this entire year about how to choke me unconscious. Like that's
Yeah.
it's kind of apples and oranges a little bit, and I think that's where the common reaction, especially from mothers, is like, well, I don't want to subject my baby to that. I'm scared. What if? And then, but they're, I mean, kids are far stronger than we give them credit for, dude. Like above and beyond, and at earlier ages, because you were talk to me about the gray belts that you were seeing, like 6 and 7 year old gray belts, what they were doing, how they were performing, what you saw.
Yeah, so like I just again want to give a comparison at this tournament. If you were to walk into like who's the in who's the most popular entertainer singer now for kids?
I
Who is it?
I would have no way of answering that. If anyone's following, I mean, I would. I know Mr.
Ariana
I know Mr.
Grande or
Mr. Beast is
Justin?
popular. Honestly, it's probably a YouTuber. Honestly, Mr. Beast is popular. Like, I don't. I would
Well,
have no way of knowing that. Like, I don't.
yeah,
My
so
kids
so
watch
just
Blippi, and I
take
know he ain't it, so I don't know.
okay, so I won't say Michael Jackson because now we're gonna date ourselves even more. But if you were at a like a Justin Bieber concert and you were to had to go up on stage and perform in front of all those people,
Mm,
just think about like it was that busy. So if you leave Justin Bieber concert and then you have to go perform at a local school play, just think about like how small everything seems and how small and how quieter everything would be if you go from a big concert like that to a school play. And when kids compete at kids pans, that's exactly what happens. They go from something so big and so large and so busy that they feel like a little ant or a mouse in the building to a local tournament that it's like, oh, this place is small. This is nothing. So that's some of the benefit of competing on a world scale. And yeah, kids can handle more, but they uh, like anybody else, they have to have a starting point of learning how to handle and deal with pressure and stress. And I think that once they do something so big and so large, everything in the world seems so much smaller and so much simpler.
yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
but
Go ahead.
yeah, but as far as the gray belts, like um, if you know jujitsu, I'm talking about kids under 10 years old, like under 10 years old are doing guards, are doing jujitsu that is very equivalent to somebody who's been training like 5 and 10 years. Under 10 years old. Like it's amazing how they're like, you know, uh, uh, they're attacking like 50-50, and they're controlling the leg on the false sweep but using it to like invert, and like it's so sophisticated at what they're doing. Like if you could believe it, like for me, I just couldn't believe it. Like a couple years ago we started to see a lot of delahiva, a lot of berimbolo, but I think they're moving to like the leg drags, and like I seen a lot of like catches on the feet, like they're about to attack footlocks and things like that, and using that guard to like not even come up, using that guard to like get underneath them, and it's just so much more advanced than a regular De La Hiva that I was shocked. I was like I was so impressed, and so they're so advanced, so much more. And a little bit later, I'll tell you why. But just the level of jujitsu is like it's the standard. It's amazing, and those are the best. That's the best platform in the world right now to say if you think your son or daughter or your student is the best in the world, that's where you got to go to prove it because there's no room for error, zero. Like
Well,
it literally is a game of inches on every technical level.
and to the point of that, right? Like even just the stressful portion of competing, it's kind of like you're like pride away from your team a little bit. Like you're like, okay, you can have like your team camp or your base camp, but then when they call your name or they call you up or your name pops up on the screen, you go, you make weight, and then they pull you into this bullpen, so you're separated from your team now. I don't know, were they allowing like coaches in the bullpen, or was it just the kids?
No, 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 no. If
Okay.
you were 5 years old, yes. If you were in the 5 years old range, they still allow them mat side. But if you were like above that age bracket, then it might have been 5 or 6. But after that, like you're totally on your own, bro. You're
Right.
totally on your own.
Right. So
And yeah,
and so they're barricading you. They have like these barricades like 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 cattle, and then they're kind of funneling you in, and then they'll come and grab you, and it's like that is where it comes down to ultimately your performance, because if you're on a hockey team or a soccer team or any group team, like it's easy to be like, we lost, but you don't take the full ownership of it, right? I mean, your team as a whole lost it, but it doesn't feel the same as like, yeah, I went out there, I've been working so hard, and it was my sole lack of preparation and preparedness, and like there's no one to blame. There's literally no one to blame.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
um,
something that I saw with our team and other teams, uh, it happened very, very often. I'm going to speak on our team that the best person didn't win. And often you get out there and you don't get to display what you know of jujitsu and how you train and the moves that the strategy, because it's so like overwhelming to be in that area that it's like, I was telling our students, everything around you is a distraction. Like all these people are a distraction, the noise are a distraction, the cheering is a distraction, the referees are a distraction, you know, everything there is essentially what you're fighting against. It's not even against the other person. So we have a game plan, and the person who eliminates all these distractions and doesn't have their focus be on that versus on the match and what their game plan is usually the one who's going to win. So people often with much less or not as good jujitsu or as good of an athlete are going to win the match because they can manage a distraction. They've been there before. They've competed before, and they're able to dial in and solely focus on what their strategy is or their game plan. So the distraction is one of the biggest things that do. And as kids start to do this for a couple of years, now they're just free. Kids are fun and silly, and they're kids are entertainers in their own way, and that's really cool to see. Is like they're animated and they're like jumping up and down and pumping their chest and like opening up their gi, like you're gonna get like some of the legends in the sport do, like they just won a big title. So it's not just they raise their hand. Like these kids are celebrating winning uh, equivalent to the Olympics. Like it's such a big deal, and they're they're really they're flaunting, and they're celebrating on like a highlight reel type level. It's definitely video and picture worthy, and I'm sure you'll see some of the images if anybody's been on the IBJJF site. Seeing capturing all the emotions and things like that. So
so how did our team do when we went out there? I know last year, obviously we had Amina to gold in her division. She'd since been promoted, so we had a lot of new belts kind of going out there. We had a lot of our gray belts that were promoted to yellows that were promoted on up to next yellow. So what we took home some hardware, no golds this year. But how did our team do overall?
So, it depends when are we answering that question and who is answering that question. So yeah, over in a matter of a 2 or 3 year span, we had multiple gold medals, multiple second places, and we had some bronze. This year, just this past weekend, we had a couple silver medalists for the Pan Championships. I believe we had 2 or 3 bronze medalists. And when you look at it on a bigger picture, that's definitely an accomplishment. So, the preparation that the kids went through, like, our and sometimes 3 times a day. Our coaches have them doing endurance training. They're literally trying to push them to the point of like breaking, where mentally they just become so strong. So leading up to the camp, the kids work really, really hard. And like I said, on a larger scale, These are the medals we came back with. But if you ask any of the competitors who took a second place, they're not happy. And, um, this is like mourning the loss of somebody, and now is not the time for any of us to say we're happy with second place. As a coach, I'm not happy with second place. And I've competed, and you can tell me that, you know what, at least, you made it and you were there and you tried your best. Um, if you tell me that as a parent or somebody on the outside in, yeah, that's true. But if you've competed, you're never ever going to accept second place, and you're never going to be content and happy with that. So, to answer your question, nobody is happy with their performance. Everybody goes in there to win. That's our goal. And we don't go in saying, hoping we make the podium. And sometimes that's a goal, and that's a very, very, that's a goal, a really good goal to strive for, is just to make the podium. So, but that wasn't the goal for any of us. That wasn't our mentality going in. So we're not happy. We second place is not good enough for me, and it's not good enough for our kids. Um, and so that's how we see it. Obviously, we just continue to do what we do, and it doesn't change anything inside the gym. You learn more from your losses, but we want first place. That's our goal. Anything less than that as a coach and an athlete, we would be lying to you.
I think a huge mindset thing that Coach Alvarez, talks about a lot, and it was kind of like it took some reconciling for me is you when you're competing you need to expect to win, right? Like, so if you need to expect to win, and that, I'm like, well, that doesn't sound pretty arrogant, to expect to win, but it's just a mindset preparedness thing. It's not throwing any shade or any disrespect towards your competitors, their coaches, or anything like that. But if you go in there expecting, like, I just hope to place, you're kind of selling yourself short, and that expecting to win. I mean,
Yeah,
you look at a lot of like top tier athletes, Michael Phelps, McGregor, a lot of these guys, they use actual visualization of their their
yeah,
per, their perfect lap. I think when Phelps, when he in one of his final matches, his goggles actually came down. Like, so he wasn't, he had water in his eyes, like, for the last half of the lap or whatever. So he was effectively swimming blind. But he just, his coach would be like, run the tape of, your perfect lap. And he just continued that, right? So, like, and that is, that expecting to win is expecting, committing to the moves that you're going to do, your perfect, we refer to it as the perfect match, right? Your whole from takedown to submission, or guard pull to, to submission or sweep to submission, whatever your perfect match looks like. And um and committing to that, having full confidence in that, committing to those moves. And that's a huge mindset portion that even we try to get our adults, tied into, to committing to that, as opposed to like seeing what's available. It's just not going to fly that way.
yeah.
It's not going to work that way.
You know, uh, you have to go in when you're competing and believe that nothing or nobody can stop you. Like, you really have to believe it, and it doesn't matter who or what is there in front of you. Like, if you train so hard and you're so disciplined in your training, that's where you build up confidence to know that I just I this series, this sequence is flawless, and I cannot be stopped. And if you don't go in with that type of confidence, which is only established during hard work, you could have confidence, but if you don't have the confidence that comes from the actual training, then you're not going to be you're going to get exposed, because that having confidence without the training is definitely a way where you can maybe get your opponent out of his game. And but when the confidence hit with the confidence of the training and the technical training, you have to know it, understand it, and if you do on that level, um, uh, and you go into a tournament competing, you should go in saying, I just can't be beat. And even if you're going against someone bigger, more advanced, or whatever, that little piece of who you are as an athlete cannot be questioned.
That follows us. I mean, I know you and I like we encounter this a lot, right? But like that mindset, it goes into, you know, no doubt. I mean, no doubt that it's a big deal to win tournaments like this. But I don't know. Do we know? Are any kids? To my knowledge, I mean, like I know it's pretty well known athletes don't really make money at gi, especially gi jiu-jitsu, right? Like that's not really a money making avenue for them. Like you want to be Simone Biles, compete in the Olympics, you get 50 grand for every gold medal you win, plus all the sponsorships that kind of follow. That's just jiu-jitsu's, it's a small community. It's not really a way, it's not really a career path as a competitor yet. So then you need to find a way, like if this is something you want to inject into um your career, like you need to pursue other avenues. You need to either be a self promoter, kind of try to promote your own brand, your own tutorials, your own, private lesson, your own seminars, whatever you're going to do. If you open up your own school, but that mindset, like there's a lot of risks that come with any of those things. There's a lot of investments that need to be made. There's a lot of things that happen with that. And so when you're dealing with that mindset of nothing can stop me, I mean, like just in the exact same way that your opponent standing across from you on the mat is trying to strangle you alive. That is how violent and vicious the free market is. And so like
Yeah, I would agree with that.
it can be a really
Yeah,
scary
definitely.
thing to be like, I'm going to open it. How many people do we know that have like, I want to open up a gym one day? That one day, dude, that's the kiss of death, dog. Like,
Yeah,
why one day? Like why not this year? Why not next year?
yeah.
Like
You know, yeah,
like the one day. And so that mentality, that's what follows you. I want to be at, I know of one of our competitors for sure. Um like they're gonna go into they've already got like, I'm gonna go into the military and follow the career path that follows that. Like that, nothing can stop him with it. It's that same kind of mindset that follows. If you want to go to college, you want to be a doctor, you want to go into the trades and open up your own construction, but whatever it is, like that mindset of this is what I'm doing, man. And it's that law of attraction that comes when people see that, like they're like, I want what he's got or she's got. Like because it's so rare. People, I mean, dude, we see them all the time. People who second guess themselves and they're like, well, I don't know. I think, dude, it's not a good look, man. I mean, like, yes, there's risks. Yes, there's things could go wrong. And look, stuff goes wrong for us regularly. Right on the
yeah,
regular. Like it's so regular. It's like it seems strange if things don't go wrong. But
yeah.
but it's again, it's just that preparedness, those competitions. I mean, the people trying to metaphorically kill you. It's just another day in the office, man. I mean, what are your thoughts
You
on that?
know, so today we actually have some case studies. 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we didn't have kids who went from basically 5 years old all the way up to adult and showed a successful competition and a competition path and a path where you could make a livelihood. So, 10, 15 years ago, when one of the kids who was like at the highest level in all of jiu-jitsu decided to say, I'm going to do a seminar and I'm only like 10, 12 years old, they had to be the first ones to like break that barrier and say, yeah, I'm only 12 years old, but we're going to promote a seminar. These kids are winning and you could learn from them. So there's been many of those kids now that are actually doing seminars and are following some of their footsteps. So there's been lots of career paths of kids that start at 5 and now are like in their late teens and early 20s that have decided to say, look, I don't see a career path. I'm going to try to make my own. So as far as like instructionals and private lessons and different things like that, getting sponsorships, somebody had to be the first one to do it. And I give these kids a lot of credit. Like they're pioneers uh, for all of us, and they had the courage to say, yeah, we're young, but we're still going to do it. We believe we add value to the competition scene, to the jiu-jitsu community, and we're gonna try this. And now that other kids are where they were at 10, 5, 10, 15 years ago, so they made it more realistic to say, yes, you can start to make a career path. Obviously, when you have somebody that is so far above everybody else in jujitsu and in any sport really for kids, people are going to take notice and they're going to recognize them. And we are starting to see, more things, sponsorships, instructionals, seminars. So it is not as like, what? Yeah, you're only a kid. How are you going to do that? So we're starting to see more of that, and obviously we're going to see a lot of that with Metro Jiu Jitsu and our kids because we're trying to get ahead of that and support these kids. And if they decide to make a career path, we want to lay it out for them. If not, they could do their own thing. So the the case studies have been done, and that's enough for us and sponsorships and
I'm
money out there
curious,
for them.
and I don't know if we have an answer to this, but I'm curious how, for like the professional athlete kids, like what that looks like, because being a having a personal brand as a kid, I'm curious what that looks like as far as like the kid's manager who's obviously their usually their parent, right? And what that looks like. I'm kind of getting like, I wonder if there comes a point in which they don't want it, but like the parents want it for them. You know, like I read a study on that a long time ago. Like a lot of college athletes and NFL athletes, they just hate the sport, dude. Like they have absolutely no desire to play. But they're like, well, this is what I'm good at, I guess. Like, and they're just like, it's been all they've ever done for a long time. I wonder if, just kind of thinking out loud, I wonder how much of that exists. Because I mean, we obviously we have conversations regularly with kids and adults and parents. Like, we've got a whole roadmap, for kids who want to, a pretty proven track record of like making a career out of something is opening the gym. I mean, even Gordon said that. Gordon Ryan was like, listen, he's like, I'm the number one nogi grappler far and away. He's like, by far and away. And like, not I think less than 15% of his income comes from like actually doing jujitsu. And he's like, so if you're like, and he's like, if you're not me, he's like, which nobody, he's Gordon, which nobody is, but he's like, you like, a school would be like a really, kind of easy path. And so you got guys like Keenan, who are doing that. He's kind of, backed away a little bit from competing and focusing on his school. But now you take something that is an entirely different, totally different activity, to go from being a competitor to being a school owner slash entrepreneur. I mean, that's, you better evolve, man. Like, you better evolve, and
Yeah.
you better start a waiting line for the haters that follow, dude. Like, that's all I gotta
And,
say. That's all I gotta say about
and,
that.
and coach, to get to that level, it's a lot harder than people think
To what level?
because
To Gordon's level?
to get to the level of being the best in the world, Gordon is an adult, but these kids, some kids now, we have again data to have multiple time world champion children that have run it 5, 6, 7 years, like multiple time. So let me tell you how hard that is. We're talking about a 4 minute match.
Mm,
And if you lose just one minute or one round, you can't be a world champion.
yeah.
And in football, you have 60 minutes to make mistakes, to fix them, to
Mm,
adjust them, to go back. You have 4 minutes. You have 4 minutes. In soccer, you have an hour or 90 minutes to, like, oh, we had a bad start. We had a bad half. We have to pick it up the last quarter. Tennis, like, you go back and forth. You can get
mm,
scored on, scored on, scored on, scored on. Jiu-jitsu, That's why it's so stressful and so complicated, is because we have 4 minutes to work with, man.
Mm.
4 minutes. And
That's a
that goes
great
by so
point.
fast. And if you lose, yeah, you lose a round, you can't come back. You can't rest and then come back. Doesn't work that way. Even if you adults do absolute, you lose, you are done. You got 4, 5, 6 minutes to prove you are the best in the world and consolidate 4 minutes
Mm.
of 60-minute football or other sport. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, that's
So
actually a good point. I didn't really think about that. Like if because I mean even if you take like a football season, and I don't know, dude, I don't know how the seasons work, but you're right. I mean you need to go undefeated at the pans to win gold. You have to go undefeated. Period.
yeah,
Like that
yeah.
you can't lose once. It's not double elimination. You know, it's you need to go undefeated. Is there a football team that goes undefeated all year? I don't think so. Like I would imagine maybe it's happened once, but like they would be like a phenom, right? And
Yeah.
so, and even in the Super
Well,
Bowl, go ahead.
Tom Brady a few years ago, and I used this as a training session for my team at the time. They won every single game. They were undefeated in the preseason regular season, undefeated in the playoffs.
Wow.
They made it to the Super Bowl, and then every week Bill Belichick would go in and talk to them and really get on them about like where the holes are in his game, and he would be so freaking stressed out because he's like, "Look, guys, these are the stats." And if we would have missed this, we would have lost the game. And he found so many holes in the game. They end up losing in the Super Bowl. And that's an example
Mm.
of, 15 times 60 is what?
15 times 60 is 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90. Uh, so that's what, 900?
15 times 6 is 900. Yeah. What's
Yeah.
900?
So you
Is
add,
minutes?
yeah. So if you add plus a couple hundred more for playoffs, so if you have 11, 1200 minutes, the
Wow.
only one that matters is the last 60 minutes of football.
Mm.
And take 1200 minutes and consolidate it into 60 minutes. In jiu-jitsu, we're consolidating like, your preparation all year round into 4 minutes for kids. That's wild.
That's yeah, that's a good point that I never considered, man. And that's a I mean, I know like obviously, competing like you have to go out there and you have to perform, you know, right away. But like comparatively to other sports, I didn't think about the time delay. Yeah, cuz you see all the time people come back after halftime. Like that happens
Yeah.
fairly regularly. They get a break after halftime of the game. Um assuming, that the Super Bowl doesn't have a predetermined winner. Assuming that. That's so then what's next? What's next for us? I mean, we're training. That was the kids. What are we training for next at what are we training for next at the academy? What tournament?
So, uh, so we have the next biggest tournament in the world is, for adults, it's Master Worlds, and that's for people over 30. So you're talking about 35, 40, 45, 50, like up to 60 years old. So Master Worlds is the next tournament, and we could have some competitors going up there. Obviously, when you get older in age, it's a little bit harder for adults to manage their bodies, their time, their family, their career. They don't have mommy and daddy catering to them and making sure that they're able to get to class and cook them dinner. So adults is a lot more, that's a whole nother animal. So hopefully we're able to get a couple people there, and you're a master, so on the lower end of the master you're still young, but again you can go up to like 50, 55, 60
Mm.
years old. So you just think about the lifestyle that comes with those type of people, and it's pretty, if they just able to train for it, that's an accomplishment. So
Yeah,
so that's one of the next things we have.
and it's the I mean, you want to talk about just what it takes to you see these memes all the time of like younger jujitsu guys and older jujitsu guys. Just the hurdles we have to overcome, even to get into the gym, dude. Like
Yeah.
currently on this podcast, this very minute, Like I can hear, my kids screaming in the background, and then you're dealing with like your work or job or
Yeah.
social calendar, family, obligations and events, and that, like, dude, it's so many responsibilities, and to compete at something like that, that's why a lot of other recreational stuff, you have like beer league hockey, and like it's like once a week, and it's like so not taken serious. Like softball, see guys play softball, axe, it's like recreational style. But to come through and some of these guys, I was talking to Coach Jimmy Sawula, guy in his bracket, just straight up retired to go compete. He was like, "Yeah, I just decided to retire, so now I just train and lift full time." And and he's like, "Okay, like so you have those guys who are doing that, so it's a really unique thing, and then you can get I mean, just the age spread. I think it's like a 10, was it 5 year gap, 10 year gap sometimes? Like
Five.
what? Five, is it
Five.
five?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
get 40 to 45. You can accumulate a decent amount of injuries in those 5 years. A decent amount of injuries
Yeah.
that, like, will really affect your style and whatnot. So that's yeah. But that, I mean, those are the guys we love. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we young guys come in regularly, and a lot of them are great teammates, but it takes us, it takes a fully balanced life, to be able to train consistently and train to compete at something like that. Well, over 30. I mean, especially if you got a family and stuff, dude. Like, it's like you're that's a lot of respect, because you're managing calendar, you're managing schedule, you're managing. And some of these guys, the only classes they can make is our 6 a.m.s, so which means they're waking up sometimes at 5:30 to like choose violence at 6 in the morning before work. Like that itself deserves respect, in my opinion. To do something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll be excited. Where's Masters? Is that Vegas, or is that back in Florida?
That's Vegas. Yeah, we also have Jiu Jitsu Con. So that goes on like the day before Master Worlds, and that's a whole nother big. That's considered a major tournament. So we actually have some kids going to Jiu Jitsu Con. We have some adults going to Jiu Jitsu Con. So we have some of our team flying out to Vegas, and uh, so all of the kids are. Well, a lot of the kids that are able to are right back on it. They're getting out there like within a matter of like a month. They're flying out to Vegas to compete again to start to prepare for next year. And competing is its own thing. So you have to be active and keeping your competition tools and timing up. It's a different type of like endurance. It's an emotional
100%.
endurance. Yeah.
100%.
So yeah,
So,
and then we have our barbecue coming up,
yeah,
and
I
so
was
we
just gonna get into some upcoming events. We've got our team barbecue. It's a member appreciation barbecue, big event. We got bounce houses. I think, Coach Christian added like a dunking machine. Not It's like a dunking machine. It's not the old school tanks, but it's like the kids can throw a ball and drench a coach. And I told him, he's like, "Hey, do you want to add this to the barbecue?" I said, "Yeah, but it's not me. You're gonna have to soak Coach Mo." So I signed you up for that. I'm kidding.
if
I'm kidding.
if Christian is listening, I'm sure you would be happy to put me underneath the bucket of water. But
They
it's all
but
fun.
we need a volunteer for that. But it's volleyball, corner. It's just a good time to kind of relax. And then we're actually, we're doing more things like this. Like we're watching Fight Night at the gym this Saturday, and then we just booked. We've got our team hike coming up at the Pictured Rocks. That's actually October, coming up in October. So
Bro,
you never been to the
bro,
Pictured Rocks, have you?
bro. So you posted that and you kind of took a poll and then you just decided to say, okay, this is what we're doing. I
Well,
felt like you were asking my opinion, and I'm like, oh, that sounds great, great idea, whatever. And all of a sudden now, live on social media, you're like, well, this is what we're doing. Like,
Well, we are. I
I
mean,
feel like
I
I'm
book.
getting
I
bullied
booked it.
into this.
I booked it already. So
Oh my
that's yeah. I
gosh.
mean, like that's well, because here's what happens. All right, like I've got a family. I got a large family. You of course have a large family. You probably got a larger family than I do. How many is your extended family? So if you add your household and your siblings and cousins, like how many hundreds of people is that, dude? Like if you were to get a family get together, how many people can you expect?
Um, I'd say
Round number.
minimum of 150, probably
Yeah,
close
yeah,
to
that's huge.
150,
Yeah, that's
maybe
huge.
more.
So getting them together, like if you get like a lot of, first off, you're never gonna please everybody, so like get that out of the way. You got to make a
Yeah.
judicial decision, but like people are like once you see it, and then I think it's one of those things once they see the cab because the cabin we got like it's legit, like it's huge cab, it's right on the lake. And then you break it down, it's from VRBO, like it's less, certainly less than hotel rates, and then you remove the excuses, because a lot of times people will. This goes back to our people talking themselves out of good things, right? They're like, "Oh, I can't because of time or money or whatever." Like, we're gonna carpool up there. We've brought the cost down, and it's literally like it's a 3 day weekend up in Munising and Hiawatha National Forest. Like if you don't want to do the hike, you can just kick it. Like we have. I'm thinking of Jess, who's an amputee. She's like, I can't do the hike. I was like, so neither can my freaking kids, but like they're coming up there. So it's a family. It's a full family gig. That and the pictured rock, dude. The pictured rocks is like top national hikes. Like one of the top,
I've heard.
yeah, one of the top hikes like in the nation. Especially you go out there, you got to get out there early. Did I tell you the story of when we got lost and like we literally like
Yeah.
got stuck in there at night and like just lost in the forest? We had to call
Yeah.
like the DNR and everything. Yeah, it was freaking
Yeah.
nuts, dude. So we're not gonna let that happen this time, but we're excited about it, and so excited more things coming up. So as always, you guys, if you see this wherever you watch, I think we're on Facebook and whatnot. Just hit the like button, subscribe, comment, let us know. Someone gave us a thumbs down, and I'm gonna guess that was when I kind of implied that the Super Bowl may have been rigged. Now I gotta know. Like, if you're the one who gave us a thumbs down, and it wasn't just because you don't like us, let me know if it's the Super Bowl come. I'm really curious because I don't even. Oh yeah, so maybe it's I just got a thumbs up for it now. Maybe they're saying yes. That's what it was. I don't know, but just saying. I've got some theories. All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Appreciate you subscribing. Terwilliger says I'm going. Amber and I want to make a camping trip out of it. You could bring your camp. I mean,
Nice.
you got a camper, dude. Like, yeah, I mean, you've got a camper, so you could just come and bring your camper, and then there you go, park. I mean, the lot, it's like a several acre lot right on the. You just come and park there. I mean, if you want to do your thing, so it's already booked, and we look forward to seeing you guys there. As always, we will see you all on the Mets.
On the mats.